All right, what's up, everybody? RevSauce9. Make sure to rate, like, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon for the latest and greatest that comes to my channel. Check out everything to do with me down below, all my streaming places. We're going to be streaming on Twitch tonight at some point today. Anyway, let's get into talking about smartphone charging, tablet charging, and also laptop charging. How to charge your smart devices. This video got sparked by actual Carter's PC because he's telling it to you wrong. Some of it was correct, but some of it was wrong. And guys, if you're buying chargers, be very careful on what you're buying. There's a lot of deceiving knockoffs out there of ESR, of Anker, of a lot of these companies. For instance, here's the charger I bought a while back ago, right here. You can see when I ordered, right there, you can see. And it's a knockoff of Anker's charger. As you can see, here's Anker's charger. I'll find it here. I just had it. Well, I just had it, and I don't know what happened. Oh, yeah, here it is. So here's that charger, and here's the knockoff. See? So it's knocking off this. And I can show you I own it. So here it is. I own it. Here it is right there. I own it. It's the very charger. I own it. Now, the thing about getting an official charger from Anker is the fact that the wattage is going to be perfect. It has the detachable cord, which is good. It has an organizer, but you are paying a lot more money. You are paying $40. That's why I went with this, because I had a little money set to the side and I wanted to get something, but I didn't want to spend that Anker tax or the Ugreen tax. When you go and you get knockoffs, right? When you go out and you buy the knockoff stuff, right? You are paying the price back in return. It's not going to be the same quality. They're probably not vetting the chargers. Usually happens is at the factory level, they go through one OEM, a lot of these different charger companies, or they do different trickery. And what happens is, like, some of the bad batches that come through those factories, especially in China, Japan, Korea, things like that, other companies buy that stock of that stuff, and then they make the knockoffs. And hence this is a knockoff. Yes, it may have 4.5 or 5K people bought it, but this, I've had issues with it. If I plug more than 4 devices, one device gets knocked off. I've tested it. I have an Android box, and I was charging 3 different other devices, and it knocked my Android box off to where it was restarting itself every once in a while. My on 4K box. So there's that. You have to be very careful on what you're buying, because you got to know what you're buying, especially with cables. So the cables I buy a lot of custom cables, because Anker, Ugreen, and a few others, they don't make custom cables. Sometimes I like to buy custom cables that look like my Lakers colors or blue and white, and I get these on Etsy. But keep in mind, they've not been, they don't have any rating on them. They don't have anything on it. So you got to be very careful on what you're buying. Yes, I like cute cables, and sometimes I'm a sucker for cute cases. And this is another cable right here. So I bought this out of Walmart. It came in a pack of 4. I use this to charge my stuff. It comes with the Type A to USB Type C. This one is Lightning to Type C. I have hundreds of cables in my house. I am always constantly buying cables, because you never know. I wear cables out, or they just get old and they fray, especially plastic cables or rubber cables like this. This is a certified Samsung cable that comes from Samsung within their box. And this is what I got with my S21 FE, S21 refurbished straight from Samsung. It came with this manual and the phone itself. So when you're buying the phone, just remember, these cables don't last very long. They're good as you take care of them. And knockoff cables, you got to be careful, because some of them could burn out. One day you could plug it in and it just stops working. That's the price you pay to compare it to name brand. So the argument is, should you buy name brand or third party? That's going to be up to you. And I got to put a disclaimer. What I do with my tech products, like I said before, what I do with my tech products, You can copy what I'm doing, or you can do your own thing. If you're superstitious, then go with the name brand. I just like my custom cables, and I like getting custom. And I know some of you like to, buy the MiFi certified or the Samsung certified cables. Go ahead, all means do so. I like living on the edge, but that's just me. I'll take the chance. And none of the cables I've bought from Etsy or Walmart that are third party on cables and whatnot have done any wrong with me. And gets their cables from a Chinese China cables. Just keep that in mind. So when you go and buy an On cable, just remember they're made in a factory in China. That's why they could sell them so cheap. This was from Etsy, from somebody in America that makes cables. They cut, they spool, they do the wrapping, they do all the stuff. So just keep in mind, American-made cables, yes, but they're not MiFi certified. MiFi certified is a big deal when it comes to Apple stuff. And there's certifications on certain Android stuff. Like, for instance, on VOOC charging, for instance, you have to have 100 watts. I think Oppo does 150 watts. Now with phones doing this, they have to have certain chargers, certain cables. They have to be at certain amperages. You guys got to go online and look at the amperage of things and the wattage that are being thrown. Do not put a Samsung brick charger onto an iPhone. You will cause issues. Every board has a logic board nowadays for battery, how much charging to send. A lot of phones have boards now to protect for oversurge protection. That's why Apple has the things in place in their settings. That's why Android has certain things in their settings. So just be very, very, very aware on what you are buying. Again, Anchor, Ugreen, ESR, some of the On stuff, Walmart branded stuff, some of the Amazon basic stuff will be fine. Etsy, just, if you're buying custom cables, just be aware, read the reviews, see what people are saying, and if you want to live on the edge, live on the edge. Like I said, each to their own when it comes to tech product. So let's get in and let's do a reaction to this.
You are probably charging your phone wrong. This is the complete guide on how to charge your phone as fast.
This is not a complete guide, and no, you're not going to charge your phone fast. iPhones are really slow unless you do Type-C to Lightning or Type-C to C. And even Apple said you have to have a certain amount of wattage. I think it's like 60 watts before you start hitting fast charging.
As possible. First, find your phone in the left column and find how fast it could charge in the right column. I tried to make sure the iPhone ones were accurate, the Android ones.
Apple's very weird when it comes to fast charging. You have to have Type-C to Lightning, and you have to either have their charger to do it. Something to do with how Apple does their stuff. It's weird. Apple charging is very finicky and very weird. If you're doing Type-C to Lightning through a game charger like I have, you're going to be fine. But don't expect it to charge really fast. It's going to charge a little faster than your normal charger. But then what Apple gives you, do not go with those small little bricks of Apple 5 watt or those 10 watt iPad chargers. Stay away from those. Those are the worst. Those will so charge your stuff so slow, you'll be sitting for days.
You might want to double check. Once you find what wattage your phone charges at, you need to find a brick that matches or exceeds that.
Matches or exceed. No, you need to find the charger that has the correct amperage from the wall and the wattage that is being sent, because you could send the wrong amperage and blow out a battery. Take it from somebody who has done it before and have had to go sit in Genius bars and try to get their phone replaced. Or if you have a warranty, you go to wherever you got your warranty from and you send it back and they send you a new phone or a new battery or whatever. They send you an authorized dealer on them and they replace the battery.
That wattage. When you're buying the brick, it will tell you the wattage, but if not, you could just see it.
The wattage and the amperage is going to be your main deal. And by the way, just buy one of these. Anchor sells a version of this. This is a knockoff of the Anchor. I believe On sells it. There's a whole bunch of them. Just buy one of these. You'll be fine. It comes with everything you're going to need. And you could sit this and you can actually buy the wall plate that hides the cable or keeps it from getting ripped out of the wall by kids.
Right here, 30 watts. There's no need to go overkill. If your phone charges at 35 watts, you're not going to get any benefit from buying a 150 watt charger. It won't be a bad thing necessarily. It's just a
if you're buying a 150-watt charger, it's usually going to come like this. Here's my example. It's going to come like this with tons of USB-Cs. Because you may charge your iPhone, you may want to charge a play and charge kit Xbox controller or a PlayStation 5 controller. You may want to just charge a whole bunch of stuff on top of your iPhone. That's the glorious part of buying bigger watt. I believe this one does 112 watts of juice. But this knockoff right here, once you plug in more than 4 devices, I've used all of them at once, it will start knocking off certain devices. That's what you get with third party, non authorized knockoffs. What the knockoffs do is they try to copy and paste what companies like Anker is doing with their chargers, right? They try to copy the same idea. Or On tries to copy what Amazon tries to take from everywhere, but to be honest with you, they all get subsidiary stuff. For instance, like Anker, whatever they are deemed not good, other companies will buy them from them. They'll buy their trash and put it as knockoffs and things like that. And a lot of these knockoff companies don't care about quality. ESR, the cool part about ESR is they have tons of stuff just like Anker. You could buy smart chargers, you could buy tons of different things with them, which is cool. Ugreen, we all know about Ugreen. This is a charger that I have in my house, actually. I use this right here to charge, my mom does, her iPhone and the new Apple TV 3rd generation remote. So I can tell you this works. I'm not, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to go run to the other side of the house to go get it for you to show you, but it does do what everything is. Ugreen is really nice. I know Linus had issues. He had a big stink about Anker, something to do with their game charging and something to do with something like he didn't like certain things with the Anker charger. That's why their affiliate went away or whatever. But outside of that, I've never had an issue with Anker. I've had more success with Anker products than I've actually had with any other company. Ugreen, I've had mixed bags with them. I've had some of their USB adapter stuff, and I even have their HDMI to mini display, and I've been having issues with their stuff. Their quality's kind of 50-50. Anker, I've not really had any issues. ESR, I mean, yes, they sell cases and stuff too, but I've really never had a problem with them either. Their stuff just works. And they have MagSafe charging too, which is cool. If you want to put something behind your product, you can. But anyway, let's get back to this.
a waste of money. Brands like ESR, Ugreen, Anker are my go-tos. The actual
Well, I agree with that. Those are your 3 go-tos. But if you don't have the money, On would be perfect. Amazon Basics. There's plenty of other companies out there, but be aware the On brand and Amazon Basics, they're pretty much buying Anker and Ugreen's trash, and they're just making ripoffs or knockoffs of what. Like when you go to Temu and you go to all these other places like Temu, you're gonna get knockoffs of main products. It's pretty much they're in the same factory. It's kind of like fans, it's like CPU fans and or sorry, computer fans and things like that. Like for instance, you have your thermal takes, and I've seen this on video. So thermal take, they'll take all the fans that they don't need anymore and they'll give them to the other companies. That's why you see, different companies like or Be Good or whatever company XYZ. You'll see like ID Cooling. ID Cooling takes whatever thermal take don't want and they put it out in the market. So that's how charging works. Now, if you are doing Type C to Type C for laptops, you need to do your wattage. You need to check what you're getting, especially Apple laptops. They're very finicky. You're going to want to buy something Anker. I would say if you are buying, let's say you're buying I would say this would do just fine for you for your Apple charging needs. I would say if you're going to go all the way with it, I would say this would work good too as well. How many watts is this? Yeah, 200 watts. You'd be fine with this. I have this charger here. This is my wireless charger. Again, this is a knockoff of an Anker. You can tell I buy a lot of knockoff stuff because I'm cheap sometimes and I just like to be bougie and I like to try different things outside of the main brand stuff. And some of the stuff is good. Some of the knockoff stuff I've used for years and never had a problem. Let's see. Let's keep going down here. So, like for instance, if you're looking at Anchor stuff, I would say like this right here, their Prime charger. So here's their Prime charger, 250 watts. This would be where you want to be. This would be the holy grail of what you're doing. This would completely charge on whatever you need, iPhone, whatever. Apple charger, if you go with the Anchor charger with their Lightning to Type C or Type C to Type, you're gonna be fine. Charging on Anchor will be fine, Ugreen or ESR. Belkin, I've never had an issue with outside of a few wireless chargers, but minus that. Um, and I think I had a smart MagSafe charger from Anchor, and it did just fine for me. So just keep in mind what you're buying. At the end of the day, don't plug a Samsung charger into your iPhone, the amperage. Be careful. Like certain these cheap phones do not have the wattage protection, and you could fry your phone. For instance, if you buy a Lumi Digiphone or a Blue Phone, right? Those are mid-range entry-level phone companies. You start throwing in like not healthy charging or dirty charging, you could cause your phone to go. And by the way, there is clean charging and there's dirty charging. You got to be very careful on what you're doing, especially if you're sending wattage to a phone. Apple like is in their updates and stuff they've been doing where they try to optimize. That's where their chip comes into place on where the battery is. Each thing on the iPhone has a chip for something, and on the iPhone they have a chip for the charging. How to distribute the amount of wattage you're throwing into things. So just keep that in mind when you're buying an iPhone. And Apple, Samsung, and I believe Nothing, Oppo, and a few others do the same thing. They have chips within the board that tells how much to distribute to things. It's pretty nice. And Samsung was the forward of that when the Samsung Gate happened with the S7 and the Edge and all that all exploded and the Note phones exploded. That's why we have the charging standards we have now.
Cord doesn't matter too much. Just
Cords do matter. Again, if you buy a custom cable like this from Etsy, that shelf life could be 1 day, could be 3 days. The cable could melt. I've had a cable before that got so hot, and I bought it cheap because I needed a cable, gas station cable, and it melted. This was years ago on I think it was on my iPhone SE3. Thank God it didn't melt the port. But I was like, I needed a charger because I was doing something and I needed something and I was desperate and, I was going back and forth between my grandmother's house when she was like having cancer and I needed to take care of her and I couldn't go far and the gas station was right there and, I was halfway to my, I didn't want to stop, at a Walmart or whatever. And I know that's going to sound terrible, but I had to do what I had to do at that moment. So just keep in mind, not all chargers are the same and not all cables are the same.
make sure you're buying a USB Type-C brick with a USB Type-C cord. Don't buy one that's like 30 feet long though. Those will charge slow.
Okay, I agree with this. If you buy a 25 watt to a 30-foot cable, you will get less charging.
Once you have the charger to charge your phone at the max speed possible, go to your settings, go to battery, and then go to charging. If you don't care about the environment and just want your phone to charge fast,
you want to make sure your phone is on optimized and clean energy charging. Yes, you do. Turn those settings on an iPhone. There is settings for Android too. I just came back to Android, so everything is new to me. Once I find those settings, I'll let you know in a future update or when I'm live streaming or whatnot. If not, you guys can go look up for the optimizations of the battery stuff. But clean charging, especially if you're sleeping, you want your phone to kind of stay idling at 80. You don't want it to stay fully charged all the time. You want to take it off the charger. That's one thing that people don't do with their batteries is they let it sit on the charger all night long fully charged. You want to go into your settings, you want to go to battery, and you want to make sure the optimization battery charging and the clean energy charging is happening. You want to make sure it stays at 80 and slowly rises up because if you're like me, I sleep sometimes 10, 12 hours and you don't want your phone sitting on a charger because it could cause damage to the battery.
fast, turn this off. If you're only going to keep your phone for like 4 years tops, you could turn this off.
That's another lie. I had an iPhone 13 mini. The battery was degrading after the third year. or the second year. I should say the second year. It was actually degrading at a point to where before I got this phone, when I traded my phone to the tech store that I got this phone from, it was sitting at 79% battery life, and I only owned that phone for like 3 years, maybe 4, and the battery was just degrading. My mom's phone has better battery capacity than mine, so go figure.
Off. Charge limit, I keep at 100. If you really want to preserve your phone, you could set this to like 90 or 85. Ideally, you want to keep your phone between 20-ish and 80-ish%. But again, if you're not trying to keep your phone for 8 years, this doesn't matter too much. Also,
And here's another word of advice. You guys always want to replace your battery every 3 years on a phone, especially on a phone. You want to go take it into Best Buy, take it into your local Apple authorized dealer, or straight to Apple and get that battery replaced. Or whatever Samsung phone you're using, go to an authorized dealer or a phone repair store or Best Buy and just have your phone battery replaced. If you're going to keep the phone, even with Android phones, you get like 2 iterations or 3 iterations of software OS major updates, and then you get security. If you know you're going to keep your phone for years and years and years, just after the 3rd year, just get your battery swapped. If you're using your phone all the time, you're on it all the time, rule of thumb is every 3 years, replace your battery. Don't let your battery swell. And if you get to 80% on your iPhone, 80 or 70, you should just go get your phone battery swapped out. It's painless. Usually it's like 60, $70. But the reason I did get rid of my iPhone is because the battery levels were terrible and I wanted a bigger screen. So they had something to swap me out with. So I was cool with that.
if you charge your phone on airplane mode or just completely turn it off, it will charge faster.
Airplane mode, yes. If you turn off all your features, of course, it will definitely. If you turn the Wi-Fi off, mobile data, everything, and just completely turn your phone off, or just turn your phone off completely as you're charging, it will charge faster. Yeah, he's correct about that. The point of this video is, look, if you're buying a phone, make sure you buy the proper cables, make sure you buy the proper chargers, make sure you do the proper stuff. Stay with Anchor, ESR. ESR, Anchor, I believe, and Ugreen have braided cables. Solid colors. I think Anchor does like red, white, purple, pink. I think Ugreen does. Ugreen has these little fancy little characters that have chargers that go winky face at you. They go winky face, I think, or they do little noises when you charge them. So the point of this video is just to, kind of be educational to you guys as a kind of a response, kind of a reaction to Actual Carter's PCs. Guys, and the whole other point is, don't listen to all these tech influencers. They don't know what they're talking about. Like half of the time, I've had multiple phones. I've had like probably a couple hundred phones in my lifetime, and I'll tell you this: you don't want to put the wrong. It'll be a bad day in hell when you plug your phone into the wrong charger and you blow your phone out. I have done that before, and like I said, it's not a fun day because then you got to go stand in line at a Genius Bar or at Geek Squad getting your phone replaced. And then you're out of a phone for a few days unless they offer you a loaner phone or depending on the damage and how much you have to pay for it. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. So my name is Rev Sauce. I love you guys. And I will see you guys on the next one. My Amazon and Alexa Echo Dot's going off. So anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.